it's Chef from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today's day 16 in the 2024 Countdown to Christmas series with Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations. Our technique for today was to create a pop culture card. And we're going to be using a cover plate from Honeybee Stamps. I believe it's called Quilted. Some stamp sets from Kindred. So this one is the SpongeBob one. And then we're going to be using the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation one for the Santa hat, because the SpongeBob one is not traditionally a Christmas stamp set or stamp and die set, and I wanted to make it Christmassy. Well, we're going to be using that hat as well as the lights from the Peanuts house die. So the house die is for the Snoopy doghouse, and then we're going to use them on the top of the pineapple to add a little bit more Christmas to this card. So I took my cover plate from Honeybee and ran it through my die cut machine that's on the other side of the room. I keep my Bitty Buzz cutter one on my desk. The other one is on the other side of my room, so you didn't see that. But I laid out all of the pieces for the pineapple as well as the lights, and I'm going to run it through my Bitty Buzz cutter. And I love this little thing. The only thing I don't love is that my handle has come off several times and I have to figure out how to keep it on. And I apologize if you hear the noise in the background. The boys have the zoomies and are running around like lunatics. So after I die cut all those pieces, I put them off to the side, and then I am going to be stamping out the images. Since we only need the hat from Clark, from the National Lampoon's one, I'm going to turn it upside down so just the hat part is, really just the hat part is on there. And then I'm going to ink it up with some Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, because that is safe for alcohol markers. There's a little burst at the top that does tell you that, so you can make sure that it's good for alcohol markers. I will tell you that the paper that I used was not great, and it did pick up a little bit of the ink with the yellows that I use. So now we're going to get into adding color to all of the die cut pieces. I could have cut these out from colored cardstock, but I wanted to be able to add a bunch of shading and dimension. So we're going to start out with Squeeze Lemonade on the pineapple. And then we move on to mustard seed, and a little bit of fossilized amber is the last one that I use. So I'm going to go over the whole entire thing with the Squeeze Lemonade, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the mustard seed to the outside, pull it in towards the center, and then when I use the fossilized amber, that's going to be the smallest that I use, and I'm just going to go around the edges. So while you're watching me do this with the pineapple, I'm going to do the same type of thing with the leaves at the top of the pineapple. I used evergreen bough and pine needles because that was what was on my desk. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this series. If you guys are new to the series, welcome. Marie and I do videos every Monday and Friday and post them at 2 p.m. Eastern, or as close to it as we possibly can, because we both work full time and I'm also going to school. So I do my best to try to post them on time. I'm doing this voiceover on my lunch break right now, so hopefully it will be up in time. But that's what we strive to do. So it's 2 per week, and we have different themes and techniques that we collaborated on them and then put them in a randomizer. So they randomize the days. So we have 25 days of this series from this year. We also did the series last year, full series. I've been doing this series for a while, several years. I haven't always finished them because, life got in the way, but the last 2 years I've been very dedicated to it because Marie has been involved too, and I know that, she puts her videos up and then I'm like, I better make sure I do it. So been much more consistent in the past 2 years. I will leave a link in the more information section to not only Marie's channel, to the playlist channel, but also to the intro video. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go over and check that out. It talks all about the series, goes much more into depth, and then I also talk about the giveaway for the series. So you want to make sure that you head over and check that out, and make sure you get all the rules for if you'd like to be entered into the giveaway. make sure you check out Marie's channel. I have not seen what she has made this week, but it's funny, we do have two different styles, but the past couple times we've done some similar things, and I'm very curious to see what she did for this one. This was one of my picks, I think, was the pop culture, because I did have a lot of Kindred stamps things, and a lot of them you can turn into, a lot of theirs are more pop culture or, you know, TV references, things like that. And I don't know, I know she has a couple of things, so I'm very curious to see what she makes. Sometimes we send each other what we make. We did not for this one, again, because I was so last minute, but so that's the info on the series. So make sure you check out the links in the more information section to see Marie's channel, the intro video if you haven't checked it out, and also the playlist. At the end of this series, between this year and last year, you will have 100 videos on 50 different techniques and themes and ideas. So there's a ton of inspiration for everyone for the holiday season. And it's not just cards. We do other things as well. And I think that there's going to be a couple projects coming up that I'm going to do that are not card related, not specifically card related. Okay, so back to the card. I assembled the pineapple, went ahead and used my Bearly Arts glue to go ahead and glue the door and the little window on. I placed my lights on there where I thought I wanted them to go to make sure that it wasn't covering that window at the top. And then I'm going to be using, right now this is Crackling Campfire, and the first one is Lumberjack Plaid, to just go ahead and add some color to those lights. I could have gone in with Copic markers, I could have done a bunch of different things, but I had those laying on my desk or close to my desk, and the smaller brushes had those colors on it, so I figured let's just go with that. Now I did get the green from the pine needles onto some of the lights, but we're going to do something to kind of mask that a little bit. Unfortunately here the glue was not totally dry, and I did have some on my fingers and it picked up some of the ink, and I did transfer a little bit of the red ink onto the pineapple, but I don't think you can see it in the end. And if you can, well, that's just the card that's made by me, because there's usually some type of ink smudge somewhere. Now we're going to work on the background. We're using 3 different colors of Distress Oxide. The first one is Broken China, and then we have Mermaid Lagoon is on the very right-hand side, and then I can't remember what the other color is, so I apologize. Is it Peacock Feathers? I don't know. I don't remember what all of the colors were, so I apologize. The lids are all on camera, but Salty Ocean. That's what it was. Geez, the Salty Ocean one is the one that I used, yes, for the ocean. So this is going to be the background. It's going to be like we're in the ocean. So I'm doing the same type of thing that I did with the pineapple, but leaving a little bit more of a highlight in the middle. If I would have thought about it, I actually would have done the darkest color in the back, in that middle where I left the highlight, because that would be where the shadow from the pineapple would be. But again, it's not a big deal. I just wanted to get some color on the background. I kind of am going back and forth over using the different colors just to pull that color out a little bit. And again, I'm leaving the highlight in the middle. You can do whatever you want. You could do lighter, like kind of have it do an ombre, since it's kind of like the pineapple is sitting on the floor of the ocean, so it would be darker down there. Now I'm taking a Copic marker to just highlight some of those score marks that are in it. The die has a lot of detail and texture in it already, and I wanted to just make sure I highlighted those. So I'm going over certain lines of the embossing that are on that pineapple to just go ahead and bring those out. So once that is done, we are going to move on to the leaves, and I am going to do the same type of thing here. I'm going to add a little bit of the green, and then I'm going to go back in with a green Copic marker and go ahead and shade those in, because I thought that the Copic marker I used was a little bit too dark, so I wanted to add a little bit more color. And instead of bringing out my ink blending tools again, I just decided that I was going to go ahead and color them in with Copic markers, and it blended it in a little bit better. So while you're watching me color, because we're going to be getting into coloring some of the images, I did leave some of this in. I apologize, I didn't leave the beginning in, but Oreo jumped up and I thought that he was actually out of view, but he was not. So I'm just going back in and adding some yellow, so some Y markers for SpongeBob and some YR. I will be going over the hat again because I wanted it to be a darker red. While I'm doing that, I thought I would tell you guys a little bit about what's been going on. I was gone for 6 days, 5 nights. I went to Disney. We did the Christmas party, which was amazing. I am going to do a recap video on that, I think, if you guys are interested. If you have done, we didn't do Jollywood Nights. There's a couple of things that I would have definitely done a little bit different. We stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which I liked, but there definitely were some downfalls to staying there after having stayed at Riviera. The room was a lot bigger than what we would have had if we had a 2-bedroom at Riviera. We just did a 1-bedroom at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So Riviera definitely is smaller. So there's definitely some pros and cons even within the deluxe resorts. So I think I'm going to do a video on that of just kind of what we learned. It was the first Christmas party that I've ever been to. It was amazing. We had a fantastic time. We got a ton of cookies. And I wore my birthday button, and at the very end, they were just giving, there was one point where the red velvet cookies, I think they gave us 7 or 8 of them on the way out. They were like, oh, it's your birthday, here's more. And then somebody else gave me some. So I did get a lot of those cookies. So that was a great trip. Back to work now, it's been absolute craziness. So anyway, all right, back to the card. I'm going around all of the images with my black marker because I did not do a good job of cutting things out. So I went around the edges to just make sure it's smoothed out a little bit. Her helmet, unfortunately, I did not do such a good job of cutting out that circle. So she's a little lopsided, but she'll do. I'm using that same Bearly Arts glue to attach the hat to SpongeBob and then attach the leaves to the top of the pineapple. I wasn't sure how it was supposed to look. I don't know if this is how it's supposed to look or not. I am not a pineapple person. I actually hate pineapple, but I thought that looked okay to me, so that was the way that we glued them together. And then we are going to get ready to glue all the pieces in place. And I wasn't sure exactly how. I had an idea in my mind of how I wanted it to look. It's not how the card turns out, which is very usual for me, that what I envisioned isn't what happened. So there where you saw I was wiping it with the towel, what I did was I took my spray bottle and spritzed the background very lightly, and you can see now it looks like there's those bubbles in there where the color has lifted. So I wanted to make it look like it was undersea. I do have some stencils that have bubbles in them, and I could have done a little bit of bubbling stenciling over it. But again, I was trying to get this done last night at the last minute, and I was at the finish line, and I was ready to hang it up. I thought that I was getting tired of because it did take a very long time. When I put this video together, and I did cut out several pieces before I even put it together, it was over an hour long. So this one did take me a really long time to put together. You can see I was trying to figure out if she was supposed to go down at the bottom, and I thought that's where she would be. But then I popped them both up, but she was kind of on top of the Christmas lights, so I didn't really like that. Oh, I pop them both up, and then I add them to the front, but then or the top, and I think there's got to be something else that needs to be added. I added some of the, what the heck are those called? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. Nuvo drops to the Jingle Bells. So went ahead and did that, and then I added a little bit of the Lawn Fawn glitter glue to the lights, and then I added some of the stickles in silver sparkle to make that like the cap of the lights. I also stamped out Season's Greeting, S-E-C. The C part is larger than the rest of it, the S-E-A, so I thought that was really cute. And I fussy cut that out, and that is from a Lawn Fawn stamp set. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue it to the middle of the pineapple. My camera did run out of room, so which I need to get a lot of stuff off of this phone. My phone is actually full, so I went to go glue it to the card base, but there wasn't enough room. So you're not going to see all of that, but you will see the final product coming up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and I'll see you again real soon for another video. Bye!